But my downfall right now was nothing that I've done on my own. Like, I didn't do anything, my house caught on fire. I didn't cause that.
Real life. If it ain't real life, if it ain't real life, just a real life street star. You know what time it is.
Also in the interview, it seemed like when y'all arguing that you got to a point where you just kind of shut down. Do you remember that?
Like, I wasn't responding, like,
Yeah,
when I was
like
talking.
yeah, it's like it seemed like you got very kind of shut down, but kind of mad at the same time. What was going
Um,
through your head?
Truth be told, um, me personally, I'm not a fighter, but there are times where I don't mind swinging first. And it was kind of getting to that point to where it was kind of like that. But that was me just kind of like withdrawing, trying to keep myself from blacking out, but also trying to hear what she's saying, because like I said, not everything that she said was bad. And like I said, some stuff that she said was true, but also a majority of the stuff that she's saying didn't apply to me, or it was something I had already said that she had twisted around and tried to say it back to me as if she was preaching to me. And yeah, it was just me, like, really trying to sit back, take it in, listen, because one thing about Jaguar, mind you, I didn't know anything. I don't know her until that interview or anything, because she wasn't even supposed to be there. But she she does what she does for the camera. I can't say the chick knows how to get views, but completely projecting on people, lying on people, that's just not the way to go, because yeah, your name might be out there, but you're making enemies everywhere you go. And the difference with me is I don't think she understood how much control I had not to get up, because I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to you all and your production set had I got up and because yeah, I'm not necessarily going to say I dislike her, but I do know too you can't really trust her.
Right. Did you feel like all she was coming from a did you feel like all that she was coming from a loving place?
It was only probably two parts where I felt like she was I don't think anything she was saying was coming from a loving place. But do I feel like a lot of the things that she was saying was coming from a place of experience? Especially because I actually didn't know about the situation with her and her son. I didn't know that he outed her for being a piss poor mother. I didn't know any of that was going on because it's not my business. I don't judge nobody. I got my own flaws I'm trying to work on. But I just, how can I put it? Like, I
Take your time.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just think that some things that she was saying was coming from experience, and some things I do feel like she was kind of trying to, interject, because just like she said herself, she is a mother who failed, and I do feel like she had the miss. She doesn't know enough about me to say half of the things that she said. She doesn't know enough about me, so a lot of things she was projecting on me. But I also do feel like she probably saw some things in me that she could relate to, and she did have some things that she could relate to. Not she's been through some shit, and I'm not saying that she deserved any of that, but hopefully she can turn all her negativity around. But I do feel like she was just coming to where some things she felt like she, we the similarities in our past or things we've gone through, and she didn't want me to take certain routes that she may have taken. So I wasn't too mad, because I was trying to understand her as well as not going off, because because it was like you said, I did kind of like zone out, but I really was listening to her. But it was just some stuff that was just stuck on my mind that I couldn't get past. And I was really thinking to, like, the whole time I was staring at her, I was really thinking to myself, like, okay, do I get up and beat the fuck out of her, or do I just be professional and listen? And I'm glad I just sat there and listened. But towards the end of the interview, when I said I needed a break, and then you guys were saying, help, just wait a second, I said, no, I need a break. that was to that was that very last moment where I didn't have no more patience. Like I was literally I was going to hit her with anything in that room. I ain't even going to lie.
Right.
If it wasn't going to be my hands, it was going to be something. I'll be fighting the big backs too. But
Jax
and
Jax
that's just like
said
the stuff that was going on in my head, you know?
right. Jax said that you hate yourself.
She says
And
that I hate myself.
yeah, in the interview she said that you hate yourself. And you was like, "No, I
Yeah,
don't hate myself." Do you still feel like that or
I absolutely still feel like that. She, like I said, she was projecting onto me. And truthfully, what I think it is, lay down. Shit. Some of the things that I do feel like she was saying, she was projecting onto me because she hates herself. I don't hate myself. I love myself. And truthfully, if it wasn't for the courage that I had, yes, Mia. If it wasn't for the courage that I had to recognize my flaws or where things was wrong, how can I put it? A closed mouth don't get fed. I feel like she hates herself, or it's like maybe some envy or jealousy in there because, like I said, me and her have gone through the same things. But I think what it is she hates herself because she failed as a mom and she didn't try to go back and fix it. I'm trying to fix my situation and I've been very open and blunt about everything I've gone through. But my downfall right now was nothing that I've done on my own. Like I didn't do anything, my house caught on fire. I didn't cause that. But she hates herself because I do feel like she didn't, and it's never too late. So I'm glad she found her voice at some point, but she hates herself because she found her voice damn near 30 years later than I found my voice, you know? And I have the courage to single-handedly stand up for myself and go toe-to-toe with the entire United States or globally for the vision that I have for me and my children. Now, the vision that, all the visions that I've said or goals that I've had for myself or anything like that, I've never, took my kids out of my vision. Everything that I'm doing is to better me so I could better them. Because I can't pour from an empty cup, and all the decisions that she's made for herself was for her, because for somebody to tell their autistic child that they wish that they would die, there's something there, and I don't think necessarily it all has anything to do with her son. I do think that she's just bitter, and then she also goes after a lot of people in the industry because they didn't choose her, if that makes sense. And even still to this day, like, it's weird. Like, I still have mixed feelings about Jag. I don't dislike her, but I don't like her at the same time. But I can still have a conversation with her. And, like, at that time, like, obviously, I said I would hit her with everything in that room, including my hands and stuff. That's what I was saying about that time. But, I've had time to think. I've had time to reflect. And, like, I still feel like she never was really coming from a loving place, but I do feel like she was coming from places of experience where she's fallen. And like I said, she projected onto me, but I don't want her to think that I'm going to make the same mistakes as she did. I know probably some of them I have made, and life for everybody is trial and error. You can only keep pushing on, and that's what life is about. It's about learning. I do feel like these days I could probably still sit in the same room with her, still compliment her on her looks, and probably even just rewatch the interview with her and listen to see if she still feels the same way about certain things that she said. But most of all, I really want her to know that I'm not her. I'm not her, and I never could be her. We might have the same similarities, we might have the same background and stuff, but I'm not going to have the same outcome as her. She's making enemies wherever she goes. That's not going to be me. A lot of people don't like me for something that don't have nothing to do with them. And I've never done anything to anybody. But I can have a conversation with anybody, even if I don't like them, because you can't grow if you can't listen. You can't listen if you can't talk,
right?
I don't even
How
know
you
if I
feel?
answered your question.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. How did you feel when she called you out about your nails when you had the manicure and the pedicure?
Well, little did, like, how can I put it? Like, for her to say that, because look, how can I put it? Nobody knows that pedicure and that manicure or whatever the shit's called. When I had my kids, I could only afford to get my nails done once a year, literally once a year. And I didn't have my kids, so I did have $3,100, and I think, mind you, my kids were in 3 households. I put $1,000 where each of my kids was, and I had $100 left over, and I went ahead and I got my nails done and my feet done. Well, no, I got my feet done well before I went to California, which was before I got to you guys. But my manicure, the nails, I actually got those done a month and a half prior to the interview I did with you guys. So if anybody was to zoom in on those nails, they could see I really needed a balance. And I wasn't worried about a balance. I got my nails done for the year, and I'm like, okay. That was just something I wanted to do for me, because I don't have to look as shitty as my situation. Like, don't get me wrong, I might look homeless, I might look like I'm struggling, but shit, that's just because I am, So, yes, ma'am. So, regardless of what I'm going through, I am allowed to treat myself, especially when, I didn't have a car at that time. I can't get a car with $100. I could save it. Yeah. But, so, I don't know if I got my nails done a whole month and a half prior to that interview and I still kept them on, hey, that's just on me. I thought they still looked good. I know she knew they looked good because she couldn't stop talking about them. And her nails was done. She don't have her kids. She didn't have her kids. And then there's really a lot of things that she was saying that she really didn't even have no room to speak, to be honest. And yeah, but as far as the manicures and stuff, like I said, my toes was done nearly 2-3 months beforehand. I kept them clean to try to keep myself looking decent. I don't want to always look as broke as I am, or I've been broke and poor all my life. I'm not scared to admit it. Shit, that's just the life I've had. It's not always going to be like that, and eventually I'm gonna be able to afford to get my nails done every week or every other week.
Right.
And I'm gonna have my kids when I do it.
Right. Have you ever thought about seeking any therapy for all the trauma that you've been through? Have you done any type of therapy?
To be honest, so I did speak to some people, and I'm to some people, and truth be told, it didn't help me. It didn't help me because, I can talk to these professionals about, my story and stuff, but they're not going to do anything but say, oh, okay, and how did that make you feel? And then I'll tell them how it made me feel, and then they'll be like, okay, well, what have you done to cope with it? And I'll tell them what I've done to cope and whatnot, and they'll be like, okay, well, those are just good. Like, they don't really like, say stuff or do anything to help. They always just want to, they just always want to give people like medicine, and I don't need medicine because there's nothing mentally wrong with me. Can I say no, Ariel, yes ma'am, here, they're in there. But I'm sorry, but they always just want to put people on medicine, and I remember this one medicine they put me on. It really, and this was many years ago, it didn't help me with anything at all. In fact, what it did was make me like a robot. It made me emotionless. Like I couldn't, like, literally, like, if somebody was to get shot in front of me, I would just be staring like, oh.
Do you remember what the medicine was called?
I know they gave me one. I think it was like a mood stabilizer or something, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a product of my trauma for a while. It did have a hold on me for a very long while. But I think it was called Zoloft, and then they gave me another medicine because You know, I always had, problems sleeping after the trauma that I endured. I mean, I don't have that problem now, but it was called trazodone.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that didn't work, they put me on something called prednisone, because I believe at some point, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely did get depressed at some point. Mamas. But they put me on something called like prednisone or something. It was like mood stabilizers, because for a while I had got depressed, and I haven't been depressed in a very, 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 very long time. And I'm actually proud to say that. But one thing that I still have that, to be honest, I don't know if it's ever going to get better, is my anger. You know, like especially when it comes to people. Like, I have definitely learned to control it, because sorry, here we go with these hiccups, y'all. But I do feel like I've been consumed in rage, and I actually just ran into. It's all gone. Y'all ate it all. Here. But I do feel like I've been so consumed in rage all my life, to where, I did have actually at one point have court anger management classes, because my anger, I would just spiral out of control, like, and then, but anyway, I did just recently run into my old court-ordered anger management person, and I told him, I said, look, I'm angry. I'm so angry, and I just don't want to be angry no more, And it's weird. It's not necessarily anything to do with my past anymore, because me spreading my awareness, like, I found so much peace in my darkness.
Shout out Reallyfe Starz, nigga. Move. Hey.